Okay, okay, okay. Good night, good night, good night to you all as you join the live. As you join the live, share the live. Share the live. Dr. Matthews is in the house. Share the live. Tonight is Friday night, where it's expected to be a call-in night for all those who support and look at the Gavin Matthews show. Make it as active as it was last night when persons were calling in. Tonight is your night, Friday night. You can call in. You can. I prefer your topics on the issues and events that not only make the news in Guyana, but we are trying to discuss in such a way that we're bringing solutions to the problem in this great country of ours. So, a pleasant good night to you all. I know I started a bit late trying to get the show up and running. Last night I was cut off abruptly, but I couldn't get on back. Tonight, I think we chose another strategy in which we will take. It will take me an hour. I know I didn't want to come in at this time, but I had to just to make sure I keep the de facto administration on balance because, they are trying to make the Gavin Matthews show non existent. But as I say again, good night to you all, to those who are now joining. So I take another minute before I start. In the meantime, let me keep you up to date of what is going on. The Black Love t-shirts, we're trying to get that off the ground. And as a matter of fact, we have already gotten some more, which we are fulfilling orders for persons who have ordered. We try to call you today, and we would like you to make sure that you call us, especially after the show. The same number that I've given to you, 592-621-0197. Call and you can maybe replace you can able give us the information that we be able to keep up to date with you. To those who have placed the orders, your orders are through, and we're trying to get on to you to uplift your t-shirts. It's wonderfully done, and we're trying our best to have you be satisfied with the Black Love t-shirt. So call us to make sure that we have your orders on hand, that you can pick it up at a particular time. Make that time available with us so we can be able to supply you with your orders. We are expected to make some other adjustment and moves pertaining to the Black Love, not only t-shirts but the Black Love brand. So let us start. To those who are now joining, share the live. A pleasant good evening to you and good night. Share the live. And just to let you know, you're live on the GMS Voice of Democracy and the GMS Live Radio Guyana. So, welcome to you all from Guyana to the Caribbean Isles, the West Indian Isles, the Pacific Isles, the British Virgin Isles. To those who are looking at us from the U.S. Virgin Isles, Mexico, U.S., Canada, U.K., EU, Beijing, Hong Kong, East Asia, Australian continent, New Zealand, Tonga Isles, the African continent, to the South American continent as Chile and Venezuela and Colombia and Argentina, to those who are looking from Suriname and the Netherlands and French and Dutch Guyana, Curacao, Trinidad, and the Republic of Barbados. A very pleasant good evening to you all. Tonight is that night where you call in and we can have our discussion. But before I start on that process, I must let you know that there is a problem. There is a problem. Let me make sure that I got my information right. So to those who would be looking would be able to understand where I'm coming from. Just hold a minute for me, please. Yes. This person sent me this message today, and I figured out that that person is working at the Linden Enterprise Network, which is the building that is controlled, to my presumption, by the de facto regime, because this is what it says. This Linden Enterprise Network that its location is on the Republic Avenue, Mackenzie, Linden. On to now the 28th day of January, the general staff have not received their January salary. They said it's the same thing happened last month for December, because the staffs would have protested some kind of unethical working environment. The management of that particular enterprise has refused to pay them on time. Now, they are saying the same thing. They're saying that the general staff have not received their January salary. The CEO received permission to pay these people but refused to do so because the security staff protested against her actions on Wednesday. Person is asking me, please, I beg you, on my family and other workers' behalf, help these people of Linden. You know why they're asking for that? Because at this time they have not received their salary and they are in need of the monies that are owed to them. It is the regular thing that is going on around the country. If the de facto administration doesn't like the way you work and because you might oppose them, they refuse to pay you. And this is what happens around the country. And it's happening every single week, every single 2 weeks, or every single month. People are not receiving their salaries. So I want to tell you now, right? We need to help each other to spread this message. We need to let people in Guyana know it's not business as usual. No matter the gloomy things that you're seeing, people are working under dire constraints. They are put in a place where they are now at a circumstantial constraints. They don't know where to turn because life seemingly is getting harder each day in this the cooperative republic of this beautiful country that is called Guyana. And because that is happening and people are not standing up, people are not being given, as a matter of fact, people can't find the energies to stand up for their rights. They're now put in a position because they are being taken advantage of. I'm serious. It's now a position where it is do or die. You either comply and don't complain, or you either comply and lose your job. That is what is happening. And then now we're putting a position where we're being miseducated now by the system, misinformed. So you have two things: you're being misinformed and you're being miseducated. There is also the next thing that I want to report on, which is the public assistance. Can you imagine this money is being shared away right now as I speak in Barbies among the villages that are known to support the People's Progressive Party? I've never heard it started in Georgetown, where the majority of the population is. But oh shoots, I forgot. Those are in Region 4 are predominantly APNU AFC because they had voted that way. I now remembered. So what is happening with us now? is that we're seeing a marginalized, I have to take my time and pronounce this word, marginalization of the public's funds and interests. Because this area, predominantly AP and UAFC, and is predominantly black, you're last. Because the public assistance fund is now being distributed in regions 5, some parts of region 6. Can you imagine that? And those that are in Georgetown or in the regions 4 and regions 10 and 3 and region 7, we're not getting the kind of assistance that they're supposed to need. Oh no, you cannot. You gotta wait in line. You're too black. Because that is what is seemingly, that's what is every day seemingly to become a process of ethnic and racial distribution of the People's Progressive Party of oppression. So we're having that serious problem that is now raising its ugly head because people are feeling the squeeze. Believe you me, they are. They are feeling that squeeze. And to those who are listening on the live radio Guyana, tell your friends, call them up, share the application with them. It can be found on Play Store or in Play Store. And if you can't get it, send me a message and I'll be able to get it over to you via way of WhatsApp. Quick and easy. So that is what is going on. And when we need to be informed about it, because it's what's happening. And then the other thing, have you seen the $2,000 bill that they're talking about now that is circulating on the internet? I thought that thing there was a Victoria Lily, but I had to be well educated that's not the Victoria Lily. As a matter of fact, it didn't even look like the Victoria Lily. There's no way around the Victoria Lily. You understand? So I wanted to know if Guyana is part of India, because that's how the government is thinking, the de facto regime. I wonder if they're doing this to maybe to draw more of their ethnic votes in whichever way possible. This country does not belong to one ethnicity of people. It belongs to 6 ethnic races. That's what this country belongs to. 6 ethnic races. And the minute you act like this, what are you telling persons in their minds? The minute you act like this, what are you actually saying to persons who are looking to you or looking at you for some sense of representation? And because you're doing that, a lot of people are rebelling. I was very much amazed that the place was light up today of the sudden $2,000 specimen that is supposed to be issued by the Bank of Guyana. I wonder we can call the one. Because some people say the Granger is a 5,000. They said the 1,000 is a Janet. And the 500 belongs to Barrett. So this one now, which is the 2,000, the must hear Ali. So you could imagine that. People are now faced with or put into a dilemma where they see this country and the de facto regime as a race-based organization that practice terror, oppression, and racism, systematic slavery among the citizens of Guyana. We can see that. You understand what I mean? Now we are going to get to other issues that are now surrounding Guyana and what is plaguing us. Can you remember the $1.6 billion that the de facto regime wants to borrow from China? Yes, it's in full speed. It is. Just now we can sit down and hear afternoon that we did get the money from China. But what did they put a stake in case that they forfeited on the payment, they cannot meet up to the standards of repaying that money. 1.6 billion. We got 900 million for sorry, we got 9 million for Jamaica. We can't even pay them yet with interest. But we pass an emergency expenditure fund for $135 million US to give to the private sector. But we can't pay Jamaica $9 million yet. Can you imagine that? We can't do that as yet, but we're seeking to borrow 1.6 billion. I could imagine when we can't pay up on terms for that, what will happen? The Chinese might hold the airport. They might hold Georgetown as ransom because they are different persons when it comes to borrowing from them. Believe you me, they send their debt collectors. And when they send their debt collectors, you know what happens? They come to claim certain areas in your country. So as we look at it, Guyana is in problems because they have turned up to the New York Central Bank with notices from the governor of Bank of Guyana and the minister with the responsibility of finance that is in the office of the president, with notification of the releases of the funds of the natural resources account that is secured by the Sovereign Wealth Fund Committee. And when they have now revised it, then they realized that they have never followed up on the contract which they made how many years ago in the creation of that fund. And not only that, but they get to realize that the law in which they're claiming that has passed in Parliament has problem of recognition because the lack of civil society and all these things that are supposed to be involved. And then it wasn't passed properly in Parliament and now it's before the courts. Well, we have a whole lot of stuff that is going on. A whole lot. A whole lot of stuff that is going on that we need to question. And because not only needs to question, we need to make certain alternatives to be put in place as citizens. We need to make that protest. We need to protest these things to protect our sovereignty, to protect our wealth as a people. These things are what is destroying us as a nation. But they're going to come and tell you that, oh, they can't get the money. They're making news. They're going on the news network. Here, let me tell you how we're going on right now. I can make it plain and simple. They can't get the money. Can't turn up for get the money. They got to borrow. And that's what is putting Guyana in more debts. They got to borrow based upon information from the Sovereign Wealth Fund Committee stating of how much money is in that bank. This is the borrowing on. They're borrowing on assumptions that next 2 3 years, Guyana would have acquired 10, 15, 20 billion dollars. And they're borrowing on that assumption because they can't turn up like that and collect Guyanese money. So that is what they need to do. Borrow. Even if the Sovereign Wealth Fund would have given them some sort of permission to come and sit down to bargain to collect that money, one of the most important aspects of that contract is that they will have to borrow on that money from the New York Central Bank. And it's the only way there's a guarantee that that account would be replenished. That's the fact. Check the contract. Check the agreement. But they ain't telling you that. They're going to different countries. They try the IMF. They try the IDB. But the IMF and the IDB is continuing to give them grants and not to lend them any money. So they have to approach countries, international first world countries, to borrow money based upon what is there in the sovereign wealth, what is there sitting in that NRS, Natural Resources account, which is controlled by the Sovereign Wealth Fund Committee. So that is what they have to do, continue borrowing on that. So put Guyana more into debts. Because countries now are going to come. They're going to threaten you. They can turn up for collect the money because you're now an oil producing country. So Guyana now is going to experience its first stage of poverty. Because when this de facto administration now borrows money, which they have no legitimacy to do that, because number two, they are illegal. They're not a duly elected government and they're unconstitutional. So you see the ramifications we're running into. I can't be political correct. I'm sorry. Me gonna sit down and reason you politically and hope things gonna change tomorrow. Now is the time to speak that. Now is the time to inform and educate the people what is about to take place in this country by a de facto administration. We can't vex, they are de facto as they are. They are a bunch of terrorists. They're creating a pathway to absolute dictatorship. We heading down that road. Y'all gonna say you wish you'd listen to Gavin Matthews. As a matter of fact, majority of the things that I've said on this program pertaining to the de facto administration, 90% of them always appears to be the direct information of these people. This is who they are. This is who they are. There's no promise to you, these boys. These boys that I talking about, these boys ain't got no remorse. Where humility is concerned, they don't know about that. They know about the tearing apart a country and ripping it. But let me tell you this. There is all sorts of calamities are turning up now. We just talked the part of the de facto PPP regime. Now we got another part to talk about the AP and UFC. Suddenly, this leadership thing got more teeth to it than statement. Suddenly you hear the former president gave up his position as chairman of the AP and UFC. And I'm talking about the former leader of the PNC and the former president gave up his position as chairman of the AP and UFC and handed it over to Norton. Then Mr. Harmon now gave up his position as general secretary of the AP and UFC. And they have to discuss now who is going to replace him. But here is a ticklish part. Suddenly you're hearing Mr. Grinch is still the head of the list. He's still at the head of the list of electors in parliament. He's still the head of the list. Here, watch. We got more stuff to talk about pertaining to what's happening in our country. Because sometimes I feel these people gives me headache. All kinds of twists and turns you're running into. And then you wanted to know who's giving up what. You know, well, I'm going to remind people that the PPP is still a terrorist party. They love to brainwash their supporters and their followers. Well, they ain't going to brainwash Gavin Matthews. I'll be here to educate the people and to keep the people on with the knowledge of the things that are supposed to happen to them and in their lives. As Guyanese, we need to stand up not only for our country, but our economic benefits that we're supposed to enjoy as a people and as a nation. We don't want handouts, because handouts doesn't make any sense. We don't, and let me tell you something. Can you imagine these people are talking about $18,000, $25,000, $14,000 in handouts? But Guyanese, we got to get serious. These people are talking about 18,000, 25,000 US dollars. They're talking about Guyana dollars. And cost of living is way beyond and above the things that they're giving you. We are an independent nation. We are a people that are self-reliant. We don't want you to handle something to us. What we want you to do is create a pathway so when we rise up, we can claim what is rightfully ours. We don't want handouts. Meanwhile, nobody tell me I can cut a $25,000 check for you this month and a $14,000 check for this one, the public assistance that they're talking about, and another $25,000 old age pension. I mean, come on, get serious. This thing is handouts. And what are they handing out? It's taxpayers' money. They're handing out to us. Taxpayers' money. It belongs to us. It's money that we pay in taxes that they're giving back to us. And the hundreds of billions of dollars that they're going after. And I'm talking about US dollars. I'm talking about Guyana currency. They're taking for themselves. They're taking for themselves. You know, here is not for y'all who the on this live talking. And I don't got no apologies, so I say. Hold on, wait. You lie for truth? Come out with another one? All right. And some of y'all is vexed that this same security that used to stand up at the door at the place where sell shoes, got so much education, like to read, This same shoe security. When y'all see this one, y'all is vexed. Because you know why? I got tired not only of standing up, but I got tired of depending upon persons who is murdering us each day as the day go by. I got tired. So some of y'all vex bad to show how y'all so racist I could stand up. The same man who used to be a presidential guard 15 years. Look at the level. Just to show you something, I want to those who are looking understand the level of audacity that we faced with. I moved from one of the most prime positions in the public servants, in the public sector as a policeman, as a presidential guard. That's one of the prime positions to exaltation and reduced to a security personnel that protects shoes and the quality of shoes. Like that was the only job available for us. Like when you look at the black man, well, guess the writing fee, especially at me size and me height. Sorry, because then it's big and the structure, the face. The only thing I got for is to push a gun in me waist, stand up a door and fold me on and push out my mouth. But no, oh no, oh no, oh no. It didn't continue to work because my eyes were now opened. I started looking at positions that I can effect myself and grow not only as a black man, but as Chinese. Now, I pressing people button. If you're locking me up, you're kidnapping me, you're taking me off the air, you're getting people pushing up bogus things, complaining to Facebook for these that could shut me down. Yes, this same security, shoe security, is now educating those to help you acknowledge where you are and who you are and what you can do. This same shoe security, powerful. Man, when I press in the button, me alone pressing the button and the vex, me got nobody behind me alone and this God above because I got tired of all the racism, all the dictatorship and the oppression. I got tired of people getting murdered in the streets. You know what is amazing? Let me tell you what's amazing. The Ghana police force is running people down, locking you up. Well, you know, it's the government, but they use the Ghana police force, which is their apparatus, for cybercrime. For cybercrime, when the major crimes unit, the MCU, that is stationed at the CID building, is taking their time out to hunt down political operatives and civil rights activists like me, charging them for cyber crimes committed. When you got people driving around this town, killing people with Kalashnikovs, and up to now they can't get catch live on the camera. You can forget the businessman Euclid that got shot up on Regent Street. You saw the footage. Kalashnikovs 47. To those who doesn't know what I'm talking about the AK-47. Yes, that's the right name for it. Kalashnikovs 47. And up to this day, 100% sure they can't find the killers. They can't. Nobody investigating that. Then you got a ship that is holed up in Africa with Kalashnikovs again, 7.62 by 51 ammunitions. Well, I could tell it was a whole military man. So by the time I look at it, I don't know what I'm seeing. That is what they're finding on board, that they found on board of that ship. They lock up everybody. 2 containers full. 3, as a matter of fact. To do what? To create mayhem and civil unrest, civil warfare in Guyana. We had it in the 1960s before Guyana became independent. You think we want it again? That is why I keep pressing your buttons, because I don't want you to sweep things under the carpet. And when you get things, can you imagine? Can you imagine if that ship was never intercepted and those well, like I see that I'm back. Yes, I'm back. I'm back. I'm back completely. So I believe, well, I have a particular app that I'm using to those who are now receiving my live feed. They have a particular app that I'm using. So to those who are now joining in, I was just cut off roughly for a 5 minute. Yes. So I'm back again as I see that I'm up. But I have a particular app that I'm using. It just tell me that I was intercepted and my live feed was shut down. So I know where it's coming from. Yes, I'm going to continue pressing on. I'm going to continue pressing on to those who are looking. I got a steam iron and I'm gonna fill it with water and I'm gonna press the government out. I got some spray starch. When I start pressing them, come straight, flat like a piece of paper and stiff because they can't shut me up. You understand? Well, to those who are looking, I just blocked some of them. Yes, there's somebody saying continue to block them, but by the way, we got to keep on informing the people. So you can imagine. I hope I know they're gonna look like blocking me again. But you can imagine if that arms and ammunition had reached Guyana. I 100% sure the Prakan would have gone down. I am 100% sure that Lepakan will have gone down. 100% sure. So you can imagine the external investigation that will proceed after that catch in Africa. It would have led them to the company that the ship, that the containers is coming to, which wharf it would have been touched down at, who would have been keeping this, or who would have been releasing it, which military officials, because you got to get military officials to receive this. No one private person can do it. Here. Y'all watch what I'm telling y'all. All the arms and ammunition, no one person can receive that. No private person can't receive that. Questions. External investigation and questions would arrive. If those arms and ammunition would have arrived and docked at the wharf and cleared by a particular shipping company, I just call the name now. Oh shoot. I just here. Let tell you something. I am guarantee, I am sure that if that would have exceeded beyond what would have been received at the wharves of Georgetown, Guyana, after that would have been catastrophic because the People's Progressive Party would have now enlisted themselves in a murderous campaign. That is what that those ammunitions that were found, or munitions, or whatever you want to call them, or arms and ammunitions, was never going to paramilitary or military organizations because it would have stated that that information would have been there, that these munitions were going to Guyana for military purposes, that was bought for military use. And if that was the case, it would have never been shipped on that ship. I'm telling y'all though, a big military CF freight plane would have touched down at Tamari bringing all their munitions. It wouldn't have been shipped by sea. It would come by air as usual. I tell you something. Guyana now has now found itself in a position where it's in a shock and awe understanding, because everything now that is here, that is coming, Guyanese are still silent. And people overseas are shocked and awe at the position in which Guyanese are now standing up in. First thing that they say, "Boy, we can't do nothing because I got a family and I got a family for feed, and I don't know what will happen if I sit down in jail or if they kill me." But let me speak silently, we already dead. Because what they're doing, they're killing us not only physically, but spiritually. We're already dead. So I want people to understand that this is not what we think it is. It is far beyond that. There's so much information that we are not knowledgeable of the fact, which we call ignorant, that we need to know, that some of our politicians already know. Let me show you an instance of what I'm talking about. Hold on. Let me show you this information I'm talking. Let me show you how people already know what's going on in this country. The CEO, the CEO for Linden Enterprise Network, LEN, knows that the de facto regime doesn't want to pay the people who are being protesting. They know that in advance. You could imagine how much of our politicians know that too. Everybody knows a little bit of something that is going on in this country, that is in the political arena. That is in the political arena. Everybody knows. But who's willing or man enough to say this is what is happening? They had made this country so divided that every position in the private sector is divided. Someone is afraid to speak out because of someone who they think supports the PPP. It's in the army, it's in the police force, it's in the fire service, it's in the prisons, it's in the military sector. If the military sector was one and refused to be divided, you think the things that the PPP is doing now, that they would have continued doing? No, they wouldn't, because they would have been afraid. They don't know where they stand. They wouldn't be able to see where they stand as a de facto administration. So that's the first thing that they begin to do. And oh, yes, at that time they got the State Department to follow on, because the State Department knew what's next. Don't get tied up, you know. They know what's next. They know what is being taking place. That's why the military sector of the country is so divided between its senior ranks, because they got some who knows and don't want to say anything, and they got some who knows. But if anybody talk, they in problems. That is what is going on. So that is the biggest talk of the day, and you see where it is. It rise up its head for 3 days and it's suddenly dead. They got a funeral and a wake of the munitions found in a ship coming to Guyana. But that ship was suddenly abrupted, not only because it needed fuel, but because of the shady information. And nobody can tell me that it's the same international news agencies and the same international military agencies who spied on that shipment of munitions coming to Guyana and decided to intercept it in a place where Guyana didn't knew that it was going to stop. That's what happened. So because that happened, that catastrophic event was abruptly ended. So many things that are going on in this country. You check it, everything is catastrophic. Emptying the public's funds, the funds that belongs to Guyana and Guyanese. It has a catastrophic beginning. Claiming your way into government by Order 60 has a catastrophic beginning. The sending home of 3,000 plus public servants was a catastrophic beginning. All these things that I'm talking about has a catastrophe attached to it because people are now feeling the reactions of such catastrophic events that are now taking place in our country. Suddenly, can you imagine a country that grows its own food has people starving? Can you imagine that? And what is the most hurtful thing? You put the cat for watch milk, but he only watching the milk by himself. He wants him alone to drink the milk. And if you shape up, I got the kittens that decided me ready for fight because they gotta get taste. They ain't gotta get drink. Just a simple lick. You know, Guyanese, it is heart rendering. It is it is hurtful. It is something that I cannot bear to witness constantly over and over and over again. We are heading down that road of catastrophe. We are faced with danger, and then we continue to turn a blind eye. Because you know why? Somebody give everybody 25,000 Guyana dollars. Let me tell you something. The amount of money the private sector makes can give each Guyanese $25,000. That's joke. That's taxpayers' money being handed back to us. People like me who just pay tax are being handed back to us. And you know what? We don't even know. Nobody tells us. It's common sense. And then you can tell me that you don't got money for give me 7, you ain't got money for give me 7.5%. More than 7.5%. but you got money for give everybody. You got money for give Gaisuko another $200 million for float Gaisuko that's not making nothing at all. You can go to Parliament and call an emergency session for expenditure and give the private sector 27 billion Guyana dollars, which is 135 million US. But you ain't got enough money to pay off the debts this country got. You don't got a kind of money. You got enough money to pay for shipments of munitions, of arms and munitions. Because that's what it means. Arms and munitions. You got 5.6 million US dollars, which is roughly a billion and change Guyana dollars, to bring munitions into this country. Arms and munitions. Let me tell you something. I don't know where else or what else we want to see as a people, but it is a fact of what is going on. It's dangerous. Believe you me, it's dangerous. We need to know exactly and continue to know what are we faced with as a people and as a nation. I continue to educate my Guyanese fellow brothers and sisters because I want what's best for them. And not only for them, but for me also too. I want what's best for me. And I'm not giving up that easy. Not under this de facto administration, this illegal and illicit bunch of terrorists that the PPP is, because that's who they are, a bunch of terrorists, all of them. I'm sorry to say, but those who support the PPP and their quest for money, blood, and thirsts for death are also enablers to their murderous cause and rampage of death, mayhem and oppression and racism. That's who you are. But I want to say thank you very much to those who have joined in for the past hour and who have been able to not only come on the live and to make some suggestions and to talk and to let everybody know what's going on. Guyana can be a bright place, has a bright future for everyone if we stand up against a system that intends to murder us all. Because that is what is happening. Nothing now has been left for us to choose for our own. But now it has been dictated upon us by an executive who has no power and who has never gained the position to become the executive of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, who is illegal and now unconstitutional. I want to say to you, I'm very much pleased to those who have joined and was tuned in for the past hour, hoping that you will join me again on Monday when I'll come to you live and give you another session and portion of news and information that is coming out of Guyana and for your needs of information to know the direct truth and facts. This is Dr. Matthews saying, stay safe, be careful, sanitize yourself, wear a mask. And don't forget the little ones you take into public places. Please do remember that the Black Love brand on the Gavin Matthews show, especially on t-shirts, are out, and we have mugs and cups that can be available. And to those who are interested in making your orders, please call so we can have those pre-orders done, and we can have a place and time where we can uplift monies so we can send your orders to you who's in the diaspora and to those who locally home here in Guyana to pick them up via way of information provided. Have a pleasant night and Cheerios for now.